Good morning. Good morning, my dear students. Nice to meet you all. Very good morning to all of you. Right. For today discussion, just I have projected the notes, right? We have seen it in the last class, right? That's what. After discussing in the last class, I discussed with you Rayleigh-Ritz method. We have done some problem, okay, with one-term approximation. The chosen trial function was a trigonometrical function, okay. On the same problem I have shown you with the two-term approximation, three-term approximation. If you want more accuracy, you have to go for many number of terms, right? But even with the single-term approximation, you have seen the difficulties involved in the derivation, okay. And moreover, it was time consumable, right? It consumed more time, right? That's why just understanding the concept is important, right? But keep it in mind, if you go for more terms of trial function, you will be reaching your solution will be accurate. This approximate solution will be accurate. That alone, keep it in mind. Even my notes I have done with the polynomial approximation also, with the one-term approximation, two-term approximation, that also leads to the solution, okay? Approximately leads to the solution. But procedure, what is Rayleigh-Ritz method? You have to understand that, that's all, okay? Now I am coming to further discussion. Actually, the Rayleigh-Ritz method, I have referred from the C.S. Krishnamurthy textbook. This paragraph which I am going to discuss with you also from C.S. Krishnamurthy. Finally, he has concluded, okay, the Rayleigh-Ritz method this way. How he has concluded finally, after discussing that method, it may be noted that the assumed trial function must be continuous, right? Because you are choosing trial function for the entire structure. Given a simply supported beam, because you have done a problem, no, you have seen an exercise, some discussion. We are in our discussion, we have chosen a simply supported beam subject to UDL, right? So for the entire structure, for the entire simply supported beam, the chosen trial function must be continuous. That's what it says. It may be noted that the assumed trial function must be continuous and satisfy all the prescribed boundary conditions. Okay. Please keep it in mind, no simple guidelines are available to select such functions. Already I told you, no simple guidelines available to choose such functions, such as trial functions, trigonometrical function, polynomial function, or exponential function. To choose such functions, no simple guidelines are available. That's why, hence, except in simple situations, this approach could not be used to solve practical problems. Keep it in mind. So this method can be used to solve only few practical problems, but not all practical problems. That's what. Hence, except in simple situation, only in simple situation only you can use this method. Okay. This except in simple situations, this approach could not be used to solve practical problems. However, then sir, why do we discuss this method? If you ask me, however, that's what he answered. And however, the concept used in Rayleigh-Ritz method, that is representing the variation of field variable. The concept used in Rayleigh-Ritz method, that is representing the variation of field variable. What is field variable? The problem which we have discussed was a simply supported beam. The field variable is deflection along the length of the beam. That is the displacement, that is deflection. The deflection is the field variable there, okay? Representing the variation of field variable by trial function and finding the unknown parameter. In your trial function, you have unknown parameter, no? Because you choose several elementary function and you combine them. They with unknown constant in it, unknown parameter in it. A sine pi x by L, you have chosen, no? That A is the unknown parameter there. And I will read this one completely. Representing the variation of field variable by trial function and finding the unknown parameters through minimization of potential energy. Even you can say minimization or maximization or extremum, all around the same, because the slope, even whether it is minimization or maximum extremum or stationary, whatever it is, the slope is zero. Its variational must be its variation must be zero. Its derivative must be zero. First derivative must be zero. That concept, no. That's why unknown parameter through minimization of potential energy are well exploited in the finite element method. Okay, they are well exploited in the finite element method. Sir, whether this alone, the minimization of potential energy concept alone, well exploited finite element method? No. In finite element method, we use virtual displacement principle, even this potential energy principle, okay, and so on. So many methods we use, whether equilibrium principle approach or energy approach, anything we can use in a finite element method. Okay, no problem. That I will discuss slowly. Understanding the concept, the method is very important for you, because after you are a master degree student, in your course of study, while doing your dissertation, you are going to use packages, finite element packages. So you must know the principle behind it. How does that package works? How it has been programmed? Okay, what is the theory behind it? Okay, how does it work? What is the theory behind the finite element packages? You must know. That's why I'm discussing all these things. Try to follow. Okay, apply your mind, watch keenly, and try to follow whatever I am telling you. Okay. Now I am coming to the generalized concept of finite element method, right? I will come to that generalized concept of finite element method. Okay, this I have chosen from another interesting textbook. Okay, so far I have followed C.S. Krishnamurthy, Rayleigh's method full discussion. From Professor C.S. Krishnamurthy, I referred that textbook. From there, whatever statement, paragraph I have written, everything available in that textbook. From that, I simply copied. Okay, you can refer those textbooks if you have the copy of it. Okay, now I am coming to the generalized concept of finite element method. This I have chosen from a very beautiful textbook called Abel and Desai, finite element method by Abel and Desai. It was a foreign edition. Okay, the units were not in SI units; they were in that square pound, square inch, like that, in that unit. Okay, so I am coming to that generalized concept of finite element method. The finite element method combines, that's what I told you, the best features of the two approximate methods. Which approximate method? Finite difference method and Rayleigh-Ritz method. Okay, the best feature of those two methods, your finite element method combines. Okay, the finite element method combines the best feature of the two approximate methods, methods of analysis discussed earlier. Okay, although we have not discussed finite difference method with you because it is not there in your syllabus, only Rayleigh's method was discussed. Okay, has been discussed with you. No problem. Okay, but keep it in mind. Actually, the concept used, which concept we used in finite difference method? The concept of discretization of the continuum. That is the main concept in finite difference method. That is well exploited in finite element method, well used, well utilized in finite element method. Similarly, the concept of choosing trial function of Rayleigh's method is well exploited or well utilized or well used in finite element method. Keep that alone in my mind. Okay, the method is amenable to systematic computer programming. Okay, it's amenable na. The method is amenable. Okay, convenient to systematic computer programming and offers scope of application to wide range of analysis problems. Okay, this method amenable to systematic. We can write what is the beauty of the finite element method? Na, you can it is amenable. This method is amenable. Okay, comfortable or convenient for to write a systematic computer programming. Okay, once you can write a systematic computer programming, and offers scope for application to wide range of analysis problem in various field of engineering. Wide range of analysis problems in various field of engineering, civil engineering, structural engineering, even mechanical engineering, and mining engineering. Okay, even electrical engineering and so many other branches of engineering, chemical engineering, everywhere, even okay, textile engineering, many places it is used. Okay, the basic concept is that okay, yeah, that's what the continuity. Now, what is the basic concept is that a body or structure may be divided into smaller elements of finite dimensions called finite elements. That's what. Okay, please listen carefully. The basic concept of this is that by this method, finite element method, is that a body or structure may be divided into smaller elements of finite dimensions called finite elements, right? The original body or the structure is then considered as an assemblage of these elements connected at a finite number of joints, okay, called nodes or nodal points. Okay, the concept of discretization used in finite difference method is adopted here. The concept of discretization used in finite element method, finite difference method is adopted here. Where? In finite element method, right? That's what. Suppose you have a cantilever beam. Okay, this beam, the body of the beam we are taking, and we are discretizing this one. Okay, we are discretizing this one into several elements of finite dimensions. Say some brick element here, just assemblage of bricks, something like that, right? So one brick element, okay, one brick element, another brick element. They are connected at the joints. Okay, we call it as nodes or nodal points. In simply nodes. Okay, I have written here nodes. The joints are called nodes. Joints between the elements, edge joint. I mean corner joints. Okay, nodes. This is called a element, finite element. Okay, they are divided. Here we have divided into this one. What is that? Brick element, something like that. A rectangular prism, no? Rectangular prism, brick element. Here see triangular, because here the dimension varies. Here we go for some triangular kind of element. Okay, maybe tetrahedra or hexahedra element, tetrahedra element, something triangular element, something like that. Okay, now the properties of the elements are formulated. The properties of the elements are formulated and combined to obtain solution for the entire body or structure. So what we do in this concept of this method, first we assume the body consists of, the finite number of elements in it, right? Like this. It means we discretize the body of the or structure, and we assume it is an assemblage of these elements which are connected at the joints, okay, called nodes, right? The properties of the elements are formulated. I will tell you what is meant by properties of the elements are formulated, okay, and combined. They are combined to obtain the solution for the entire body or structure, right? For example, we are discussing, for example, in the displacement formulation, for example, the displacement formulation, several properties of the elements are formulated. I told you, no, one such formulation is a displacement formulation, displacement of field variable. Okay, so the displacement of field variable formulation, widely adopted in finite element analysis. Okay, simple functions known as, please listen, all of you listen very carefully. Simple functions known as shape functions. Okay, shape functions are chosen to approximate the variation of displacement within an element in terms of the displacement at the nodes of the element. Okay, so the properties of the elements are formulated and combined to obtain the solution for the entire body or structure. Sir, how do you formulate the properties of the elements now? We formulate several properties of the element in which I want to represent the variation of displacement. Okay, the variation of field variable. There's an element, okay, in which the displacement varies, deformation, it deforms, okay, the deformation varies in the element in some direction, right? That is called field variable. Here the field variable is displacement. So most of the finite element analysis we deal with the variation of such a displacement. Okay, for example, in the displacement formulation widely adopted in finite element analysis, simple functions known as, there in analysis method used trial function. No, here it is called shape functions. Okay, shape functions are chosen to approximate the variation of displacement within an element in terms of the displacement at the nodes of the element. Listen, now here in this explanation, you have got what is meant by shape function. Many question paper you can see define shape function. Okay, explain shape function, define shape function. How do you define shape functions? Shape functions are approximate are chosen. Shape functions are chosen to approximate the variation of displacement within an element in terms of the displacements at the nodes of the element. It means the variation of displacement within this element will be chosen, okay, in terms of the displacement at the nodes. Shape functions are chosen, okay, to approximate the variation of displacement within an element in terms of the displacements at the nodes of the element. That's what. Okay, so this way we choose for shape function. So shape function is very important. Next unit, second unit, formulation of element, properties of elements, properties of element formulation. Okay, in that mostly full unit we are going to discuss about how to derive shape function, how to develop shape functions. Okay, some procedure we are going to follow there to develop shape function, to derive shape functions. So shape function is a very, very important topic. Okay, the term here, shape function, remember, which is nothing but it is similar to that of trial function in Rayleigh's method. The only difference is trial function is for the entire structure. Here shape function is applicable only to that element. Okay, it is restricted to only that element, shape function. For every element, we going to formulate element properties. Okay, let us see. Please, all of you, once again, memorize. Shape functions are chosen. What is my shape function? It is nothing but shape function represents the variation of displacement within an element in terms of the displacement at the nodes of the element. That alone you keep it in mind. This follow, please listen here, continuation. This follow the concept used in Rayleigh's procedure of functional approximation method. Okay, this follow means what? This utilizes, exploits the concept used in Rayleigh's procedure. Okay, this follow the concept used in the Rayleigh-Ritz procedure of functional approximation method. But the difference is that the approximation to field variable is made at the element level only. Okay, it is made at the element level. Approximation to the field variable we do at the only element level. Okay, but in Rayleigh's method, approximation trial function was chosen for the entire structure, the entire beam. Here, for each element, we develop trial function. We call it as shape function. Okay, we are going to represent the variation of displacement within an element in terms of the displacements at the nodes of the element. That alone you keep it in mind. Okay, the strain and stresses within an element will also be expressed in terms of the nodal displacements. No doubt. Once the displacement, you are expressing the variation of displacement within an element in terms of the nodal displacement. What is the meaning? What is the strain in it? Displacement per unit length. Okay, displacement per unit length is the strain. Okay, that into Young's modulus, material property. That into Young's modulus will give you a strain. Obviously, the strain and stresses with an element will also be expressed in terms of the nodal displacements. No doubt. Okay, that's what. Then the principle of virtual displacement. Please see here. Then the principle of virtual displacement or minimum potential energy is used to derive the equations of equilibrium for the element, and the nodal displacements will be the unknown in the equations. This is called element property. Element property, what we do, finally we are going to derive equations of equilibrium. Okay, for the element, and the nodal in that equations, the nodal displacement will be the unknowns in the equations. Okay, the displacements at the nodes I told you, they will be the unknown in that equation. Our intention is to determine only the displacements at the nodes, not anywhere on the structure. Okay, at discrete points. At discrete points, we are going to determine the displacement. Otherwise, at the nodal points, okay, finite number of nodal points we have chosen. At the finite number of nodal points, we are going to get the displacement, the unknown parameter, the displacement we are going to get. Here I have discussed something. Okay, sir, what is that, sir? You also told something about what is that? Approximate level. The strains. Okay. Then the principle of virtual displacement or minimum potential energy used to derive the equation of equilibrium. That is nothing but properties of property. That is the property. Properties of derivation of its property. Okay. Properties, element properties. That is called element properties formulation. Element properties formulation. We are forming it. Formulation. Okay. Sir, what is that virtual displacement or minimum potential energy? You can use anything. Some cases we use virtual displacement principle. Some cases, if you go for equilibrium approach, equilibrium approach only, using equilibrium approach only, we are going to write the equation, equilibrium equations. Okay, virtual displacement or minimum potential energy principle, anything you can use it here. Okay, sir, no, I am not able to get what is that you are discussing. Please, all of you listen here. The concept of finite element method is nothing but the concept which you have used in matrix method of structural analysis. Last semester you have studied matrix method of structural analysis. Okay, I have not taught a matrix method of structural analysis so far anybody. Okay, I have been working for the past more than nearly 26, 27 years. I have been working in teaching. So far, I have not handled that subject. Okay, because MTech structures was started in our institute only few years back, 3 years back. Okay, please all of you listen here. But I studied during 90 to 92. Okay, 90 to 92, I studied a master degree. That time I still remember I used to study the book William Weaver and Geer. Okay, Matrix Method of Structural Analysis by William Weaver and Geer. That was the only standard textbook available those days. It was in again not in SI unit, in that pounds, yards unit and all, pounds and feet unit and all, inch and feet unit and all. Okay, when I referred that book, I beautifully studied. Please, all of you recall your stiffness method of structural analysis. Stiffness, okay. Matrix method of structural analysis, in that you recall your stiffness method. Okay, what did you do in stiffness method? Your intention is to determine kinematic indeterminacy. Suppose a beam is given, you find out what is the kinematic indeterminacy in it, how many unknown displacements are there, how many unknown displacement and rotations are there, called kinematic indeterminacy. Okay, you computed. And then what did you do? Please recall the method. You restrained. Okay, you assumed. You restrained those degrees of freedom. Okay, the number of degrees of freedom you computed, no, kinematic indeterminacy. You restrained it and you applied a virtual displacement, unit displacement. Okay, corresponding to the redundant, the unknown. Okay, you just applied a unit displacement and you determined what are the reactions induced. Okay, what is the support reaction induced corresponding to the unknown displacements, translation of reaction, rotation of moment. Okay, but those likewise you formed the stiffness matrix. Okay, that matrix method of structural analysis, that is called virtual displacement, principle of virtual displacement, because you constrain the supports and given imagined, okay, virtual. You just given virtual unit displacement and you note down, you are written in a matrix form the reaction induced, okay, corresponding to the unknown. Corresponding to the unknown, what is the reaction induced? That you have written. Please remember, I am telling my memory, which I have studied long back, 27 years back in matrix method of structural analysis I have studied. Okay, from that memory, just I am telling you, remember that the same concept here. That's what it says. Okay, there you in your matrix method of structural analysis, you return some equilibrium equation. No, do you remember? How did you write equilibrium equation? What is meant by stiffness? What is meant by stiffness? Force required to cause unit deformation, isn't it? That is stiffness K equal to force divided by displacement, right? Therefore, stiffness into displacement is equal to force. That's all. Stiffness into displacement is equal to force. In other words, K matrix into displacement vector is equal to force vector. That is called equilibrium equation because it has several number of equations. Those equations we have written in matrix form. Okay, they are equilibrium equations. No, you formed equilibrium equations in the matrix method of structural analysis, right? K into that is for globally written K into that is stiffness matrix into displacement vector is equal to force vector. That is nothing but that is your equations of equilibrium, algebraic equations. Okay, equations of equilibrium. That's what whatever I discussed here tells you. Okay, the strain. Okay, that's what. Then the principle of virtual displacement or minimum potential energy is used to derive the equations of equilibrium for the element. How do we write? Stiffness into stiffness matrix into, in matrix form we are going to write the equilibrium equations. Stiffness matrix into displacement, nodal displacement vector. Okay, stiffness finally for each element I will tell you like this. For each element we are going to write stiffness of this element into that is stiffness matrix of this element into nodal displacement vector is equal to force acting at the nodes. Okay, whatever force acting on the body, either point loads or body loads, that is a distributed load, body load or distributed load acting on it will be resolved to act at the joints. Okay, will be resolved, okay, or assumed to be concentrated, maybe assumed to be concentrated at the joints, called nodal forces, okay. Nodal forces, we will do such approximation. Nodal forces, that will give you nodal force vector, okay. So the stiffness matrix of each element into nodal displacement vector is equal to force vector, thus form the equilibrium equations, okay. For all, for the entire structure, you have to assemble them so as to get global stiffness matrix into global displacement vector is equal to global force vector, okay. Force vector will be known to you because whatever force acting on the structure, okay. This way you will be forming equilibrium equations, and then what to do, you have to apply boundary conditions, okay. On the, you have to impose boundary condition on this algebraic equation, this equilibrium equations. Now this equilibrium equation will be reduced, certain coefficients of that stiffness coefficients will go off, become zero, okay. It means your stiffness matrix is reduced, okay. Then you will be getting final equation after imposing boundary conditions. Then you have to solve it, okay. I will tell you even, okay, I will discuss while by reading my notes, so instead of just telling like this, okay. Then only to be more accurate and appropriate, right? That's what I told you already. I scanned my notes twice, okay. Displacement will be the unknown in the equation, okay. I am coming to this one. The equations of equilibrium for the entire structure or body, listen here, the equations of equilibrium for the entire structure or body are then obtained by combining the equilibrium equations of each element, okay, such that the continuity of displacement is ensured. The continuity of displacement is ensured at each node where the elements are connected. Please see here, from this element, if I consider this element, from this element property, I will be getting displacement of this node. From this element property also, I will be getting a displacement of this node. From this element properties also, I will be getting a displacement of this node. From this element properties also, I will be getting displacement of this node. They have to be added together, okay. So as to continuity of displacement is obtained at each nodes, okay. That's what the paragraph says when you do the assemblage of the equilibrium equations of several elements, okay. The equations of equilibrium for entire structure of body are then obtained by combining the equilibrium equations of each element such that the continuity of displacement is ensured at each node where the elements are connected. At each node where the elements are connected, the continuity of displacement is ensured. In such a way, we are going to do the assemblage of elements, the assemblage of equilibrium equations, okay. That's what. The necessary boundary conditions are imposed, just now I told you. And the equations of equilibrium are solved for, the equilibrium equations are solved for nodal displacements, okay. The global nodal displacement, all the nodal displacements, finally we are going to solve it, okay. Having thus obtained the values of displacements at the nodes of each element, right? Having thus obtained the values of displacement at each nodes at the nodes of each element, the strains and stresses are evaluated using the element properties derived earlier, okay. Right, listen. Once you got nodal displacement, how do you get strains? Okay, difference between the nodal displacements will give you the deformation, the displacement difference. Otherwise, difference in displacement between the nodes will give you the deformation in that node. Divided by length of that node will give you strain in that node. That into the element, this material property. Element properties derived earlier na, the material property, Young's modulus. Okay, strain into Young's modulus will give you finally the stress intensity, the stress induced in the material. This is the concept behind it. I simply told you, having this obtained the values of displacement. Solution, I told you. Even obtaining solution also not easy. Please, all of you listen. For simple problems, simple matrix, 2 by 2 matrix or for 3 by 3 matrix, you can manually obtain solution. But in the real problem, you are going to consider several elements, thousands of elements you are going to discretize. You are going to discretize the body consists of thousands of elements, okay. There are going to be thousands of nodes in it, right? Thus, your global stiffness, your global equilibrium equations, that is global stiffness matrix into global displacement vector is equal to global force vector. That is your equilibrium equation that you are going to finally get it. Okay? After imposing boundary condition, that equation will be slightly reduced. But see here, you are going to 1000 by 1000 size matrix, not 2 by 2 matrix or 3 by 3 matrix or even 4 by 4 matrix. You can do it by manually, you can solve. But when it is such a thousands by thousand matrix, okay, the machine has to solve it. Now, how do you write it? When you do it manually, how do you get K matrix into unknown nodal displacement vector is equal to force vector you are writing. If you want unknown displacement vector is equal to K inverse, okay, inverse of your K matrix into unknown force vector. Unknown for displacement vector is equal to inverse of K matrix into unknown force vector, known force vector. Okay, so the inverse of that matrix you are getting manually when you do it manually. Is it possible to get a inverse matrix for such a 1000 by 1000 matrix? Even the computer will not do it. It will struggle. It will take more time. Okay, when this method was introduced 30 years back, when this method was introduced 30 years back, okay, or 25 years back, it was popular, no, came into use, this method, find all this find element method packages and all, right? So that time, the computer was, it took a lot of time, okay, to determine inverse for a matrix. Today you are, okay, how to say, running the solution now, 2 days you have to wait, or 1 day you have to wait to get the solution. The machine speed will be was like that. Nowadays we have super fast computer. In spite of that, you cannot expect the computer to compute inverse matrix. Okay, that is more power, more memory space required, more speed required. Okay, but 25 years back we don't have a computer with more memory storage space and more speed was not there. Okay, some 30 years back computer, 25 years back computer. That time, many solution techniques also were developed. How to determine solution for this equation, this equilibrium equation, such a big equation, such a 1000 by 1000 stiffness matrix into unknown node vector. Okay, nodal displacement vector is equal to force vector. I told you, no, how to solve such equation, we cannot do it using the powerful tool, the machine, the computer. It's a machine. Okay, because more memory space was required, more speed was required. It took a lot of time to solve those equations. 1 day, 2 days, people have to wait to get the solution, and also memory space may not be sufficient those days. Nowadays we have very good memory space with very good speed and all. But when the method was evolved, okay, this was the problem. So that is why what they have done, some frontal solution techniques and solution in other way. Instead of going for determination of inverse to the matrix, how to simplify the solution, how to get the solution some other way. That was what's it? I will tell you that backward solution. I don't remember that word exactly. Back substitution solution or something. Okay, Gauss elimination method. There was a method called a Gauss elimination method. That I am going to discuss a separate unit, solution techniques. Frontal solver. They are called solution techniques. Frontal solver, Gauss elimination method, back substitution method. Okay, those methods are well discussed in properties of elements by R.D. Cook. There was a book called R.D. Cook. Okay, I referred that book to prepare the notes. R.D. Cook. From that, I prepared the solution techniques. Okay, the frontal solver, and then this Gauss elimination method, back substitution method. All these solution techniques were discussed. Okay, even nowadays also the solution techniques are employed, being used. Remember, just I have told you, obtaining the solution. How to obtain the solution? Even the machine itself will struggle to obtain the solution because it's thousands of thousands equation. It have to deal with huge data in it, and it has to do all arithmetic operation of that huge data. Okay, that's what, remember. Okay, there are solution techniques also available to obtain solution for this equilibrium equation, these global equilibrium equations. Remember. Okay, so what is the, so I am telling as much as possible the concept involved. See, ultimately, what is the intention of teaching you this subject? You have to understand the concept of the subject. Okay, then only you can make, although the finite element packages or softwares are user friendly, you should know the concept, the principle by which it works. Then only you can use it effectively. Okay, no doubt. Even a person who has not studied a finite element method also can use that package. It's because it's user friendly. However, if you know, suppose you are strong in finite element method and you understood the theory of finite element method very well now, definitely you can make use of that software a more effective way. Okay, that's what. Thus, instead of solving the problem for entire discuss, or evaluated using the element properties derived earlier. That's what. Thus, instead of solving the problem for the entire structure or body in one operation, all of you listen. Thus, instead of solving the problem for the entire structure or body in one operation, in this method, attention is mainly devoted to the formulation of the properties of the constituent elements. Okay, formulation of the properties of the constituent elements. See, which property you are going to formulate? Stiffness of the element. Okay, you are going to formulate the shape function for it. Okay, formulation of shape function, that is derivation of development of shape function for each element. Okay, from some properties of it, and then element stiffness matrix, development of element stiffness matrix, derivation of element stiffness matrix. These are the properties. Okay, how do you get the stiffness? From the element property. Which property? Geometrical and material property. Okay, stiffness means its geometrical property also required, its material property is also required. No, suppose in a cantilever PL cube by 3A. So what is stiffness? L cube by 3A. No, stiffness del equal to PL cube by 3A. Therefore, P by del is equal to 3A by L cube. Okay, how do you get stiffness there? So what is required there? Geometry, material geometry, as well as material properties. It's Young's modulus value. Okay, so material properties, geometrical properties are required to develop this stiffness. Okay, that's what, right? In this method, attention is mainly devoted to the formulation of properties of the constituent elements. Okay, that's what. Both the geometrical property, material property are required to formulate its shape function, its element stiffness and all. Okay, the procedure for combining the element solution, the procedure, all of you listen, the procedure for combining the elements, solution of the equations and the evaluation of element strains and stresses are the same for any type of structural system or body. Okay, this procedure are going to be the same. Combining the various elements and then solution of the equilibrium equations, obtaining solution, application of solution techniques, Fresnel solver or back substitution method, this Gauss elimination method, whatever you adopt, and the evaluation of elements, strains and stresses are the same for any type of structural or system or body. Only its shape is going to, overall shape is going to vary. Once you assume it is discretized into various elements, that the element properties and assemblage will be the same for any body. That's what, any structure. Okay, only at surface some element, it's different shape of element you will be using. That's all, but it will be same. Okay, hence the finite element method offers scope for developing general purpose programs called packages. Okay, that's why hence the finite element method offers scope for developing general purpose programs called packages. Okay, with the properties of various types of elements, forming an element library. You will be having element, you can form an element library in your program. Okay, and the other procedure of analysis forming the common core segment. You can the other procedure of analysis is forming the common core segment. Which one? Assembling of elements, solving the equations, evaluation of stresses and strain. These are the common core segment. Okay, common model, common core segment. And element properties, you can form a element library. Suppose a prism element of steel material, prism element of concrete material. So we have some element, okay. Element library, okay, that I will discuss later. Element libraries and all programmed, formed, and it is kept in element library in the package, right? And common core segment in your package also will be having this kind of procedure of which one? Procedure of combining the elements, solution of equations, and evaluation of elements, strains and stresses. Okay, that's what. This modular structure of the program organization, is well exploited in the large number of program packages now available for practical applications in various disciplines of engineering. Please listen here. This modular structure of the program organization is well exploited in the large number of program packages now available for practical applications in various branches of engineering. That is why we can able to prepare nice point element packages are available. Okay, because whatever structure you get, you have to discretize. Once the discretization of elements, okay, it consists of this much elements. The only variation is going to be the load, the force to which it is subjected. The nodal forces to which it is subjected will vary from problem to problem. Okay, and also the shape of elements at near the surface, surfaces also will vary from problem to problem. Okay, but inner core, inner elements will be the same when you do discretization. Okay, so we can form an element library. Okay, because formulation of element matter properties, we do it. Shape function, development of derivation of shape function, derivation of element stiffness matrix and all, we do. They are common. Okay, that's what. I hope you would have got it. You would have understood what I am trying to say, or what I have discussed here so far. Beautifully written in that which book? Abel and Desai book. Whatever I have discussed, 2 paragraphs from Abel and Desai. Now whatever I am going to discuss next, the basic steps. Now I told you in a generalized way, the generalized concept of finite element method. Now we are going to see the basic steps involved in finite element method. Same thing. Whatever you discussed so far, I am going to tell you in the basic steps. Okay, basic summary of analysis procedure. Basic steps involved in finite element method. I am going to tell you. This also I have taken from this basic steps of finite element method is more popular in the Abel and Desai. The steps available in Abel and Desai is more popular among the teachers who taught finite element method, among the students who studied finite element method, remember, because it's beautifully given. Those days it was most popular. Finite element method, students will used to open the Abel and Desai and study the basic steps of FEM. Everybody were thorough in the basic steps of FEM, because the author has chosen a very elementary level, simple illustration example. Okay. With an illustration, he explained the basic steps involved in finite element method. With an illustration, okay, illustrative problem. With an illustrative problem, he explained the basic steps involved in finite element method. The author has discussed in that book, Abel and Desai textbook. Okay, so that's why it was popular, right? Okay, I thought of even discussing these basic steps involved. No problem. Time up because you have to attend next class. Okay, I will do one thing. I will stop at this stage. Please, okay, first I will stop recording and then we will discuss. Right? I will record your name. Your names are being recorded. Okay, so we have recorded your name. Your names have been recorded. Very good. So I will stop recording, then we will discuss.